Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of In Between the Sticks. I am one of your hosts, Kale, as always, joined by Drew and Austin here on a somber Sunday evening. After a fun day of college football yesterday, and finally coming back off the bye week and hoping for a little bit of momentum, could potentially move into second place in the division. That is not at all close to what we did today. Today was a lot of bad football, and honestly, this is just going to be a lot of venting. I do want to give a quick shout out to Tony Pollard. I thought the offensive line didn't give up a sack, so they were fairly decent in pass protection. They were really good in the run blocking today. But Tony Pollard really did look like his old self today, so that was good. Jarvis Brownlee made a lot of good plays right in a good spurt of the game there, where our defense had a lot of momentum, kept giving the ball back to the offense. And unfortunately, we just couldn't capitalize off of that. But aside from that, there wasn't a lot of good in this game. Man, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I think the quarterback play is poor. You can't blame it all on Levis. The quarterback play is very poor, though. I think our play calling is it feels poor, but I also think, like Austin and Drew and I have talked about, it feels like it's just conservative because if we throw it more than 8 or 10 yards down the field, we're going to turn it over. And then our defense is just, I think penalties hurt ourselves on offense as well. Like you're going to kill drives with penalties right off the rip. And our defense is just doing whatever they can to try to keep us in it, which they have. So it sucks for the defense, but we've got to figure something out. And obviously, playoffs is probably not in the picture, but that's kind of how I'll start it off. So I don't know who wants to follow it up, but
Yeah, I'll say one thing first before we start this debate session. I'm glad that we gave ourselves a few hours to decompress.
yeah,
I can't imagine what Titans Twitter and social media looks like right now. I'm sure people are calling for Callahan's job.
Yep.
I'm sure Levis is hearing all about it on social
hmm
media. I mean, we got players like Calvin Ridley that's not making great comments in the locker room post game, voicing his frustration. So all around, not a great day for Titans. But I will say I'm glad we took some time to decompress and get on here and gather some good thoughts, right, to bring to the table, and more of a not as negative mindset. Oh, negative comments are going to be made, but it's not going to be as negative if we hopped on here right after the game because we'd be feeling it. But I'll start off with this. Everyone talks about there's three aspects to the game of football: offense, defense, special teams. There's four
hmm
aspects to the game of football: offense, defense, special teams, and refs/flags. I'm going to make a own category for four. I thought the refereeing today was terrible, right? We didn't get any calls really going our way. Colts got everything. Had a bad pass interference call on Kenneth Murray. Had a bad Jarvis Brownlee pass interference on the sideline, which should have been an interception. We had a no call with DeAndre Hopkins. I
couple
mean,
with DeAndre Hopkins.
a couple with DeAndre Hopkins. And let's be honest here. If refs wanted to, they could throw a flag on every play. They could throw a flag on every play because there's a flag almost every single play. Refs just basically choose when they're not going to throw it. That's why I'll lead off
hmm
with that. Second, offensively, quarterback abysmal, terrible. He looks awful. I don't know. He's talking about how he's injured and how he's not 100%. Okay, take another week. Why are we forcing him on the field? Like at this point, he's still the future of the franchise, or should be looked that way, right? Because he's so young and a draft pick. Defensively, Lord help them. I mean, they're doing everything they can to keep us in the game. And then special teams, our special teams coordinator should not have a job tomorrow morning.
No.
No way in the world. He's been the worst special teams coach in the league up to this point. Punt return. I mean, the Colts got. I can't even count how
We
many
can't guard
drives.
one, bro.
We can't. We can't guard a punt. I can't tell you how many. I mean, Josh Downs was averaging 25 yards of punt return. They also had a kick return that went to the other side of the 50 that luckily got called back on a holding call. They didn't show the replay, so that was probably a bogus penalty. But we lost in all four aspects of the game today. And, I mean, that's just plain and simple. We just weren't good. So I'm sure you can, whatever you're
This
thinking.
is by far Legarius Sneed's worst game that he's played for us. Um, I went back and rewatched a little bit of it. That first drive, he got burned twice. One of them should have been a touchdown. It was just an overthrow. Like he honestly should have probably had like 3 touchdowns against him today.
Yeah, he got
A-
burnt in the fourth quarter
After
too by
after
Pierce.
getting mossed by Michael Pittman Jr. in the end zone too. By
Who
the
has
way,
a
like
broken back?
yeah, a broken back, and that ball was floated up there, dude, and he just didn't even try to go get it. But I mean, Snead even mentioned it. He didn't play well. Um, which I said, thankfully they didn't convert on any of his mishaps. But like I said, Brownlee, obviously a huge positive for us on that defense. I said it earlier in the episodes that we released. I think Brownlee's the steal of the draft for us so far. You can mention Sweat, but I think we came in expecting him to play the way that he's been playing. Didn't really
Mhm.
do much today in aspects of stats, but Brownlee stepped up here. And honestly, if I'm Cheeto, I'm worried about my starting job whenever I get back off this injury that he's on.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, Will Levis, for the most part, played a decent game up until the last half. I mean, I think I saw a stat. He's like the worst quarterback in the league in the second half this year, from what I saw on stats right now. And it shows. I mean, he just, whenever he's turning the ball over, it's in the second half. And there was multiple, he should have had more. They dropped like two of his throws that earlier in the game that should have been picks. He should
Mhm.
have had like three total interceptions. Um, I don't know if that's just him or like we've said, a lot of people are going off on Twitter right now with the play calling. I mean, there's multiple ways you can look at it, right? Obviously, if you don't trust your quarterback, you're not going to have the whole playbook out there at your disposal because he can't execute the whole playbook. Um, and just early on, right? That very first drive, we had come out. Pollard runs like a 7-yard run to the left. Next play, we run a screen with him to the right that goes negative a yard or two. And then the next play we run is a tight end screen to Chig to the left that got to the line of scrimmage, and then we had to punt. So it's like, why we get a 7 yard. If Derrick Henry was on this team and he ran for 7 yards on first down, he's getting the ball again. There's no point not to run the ball. So, and there's just questionable things all around. We challenged that one play that was
Terrible.
clearly a
Oh,
It was a
first down,
bad challenge.
clearly a first down. So we lose the timeout there, and now we're scared to challenge the play that actually was a fumble that we needed to challenge to get the ball back,
yeah.
and we
And it
couldn't.
was a fumble. It was a blatant fumble. That ball was out, but we had already wasted a challenge, and we couldn't waste another timeout if for some reason it didn't get overturned.
Yeah. So I think just rookie head coaches obviously showing in some of these things. There's been some people debating if he should even be playing or calling the plays and relinquish that to an offensive coordinator or something. I don't know. Supposedly he came in here and he's the quarterback guru, but all of a sudden, our quarterback just sucks. I mean, the Will Levis right now compared to the Will Levis of last year is two completely different people. What in the world happened? Where is Will Levis? That's all I'll leave it at because, quite frankly, we're losing the game because of our quarterback, straight up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think one of the biggest things for me too is like with all of this with all of this comes a lack of confidence individually and as a team. Like there is honestly the only thing that we have some confidence in right now is our defense. Um, when our defense gives us the ball back, I have no confidence that we will get points out of it. I don't. I just hope that we do. Cause I'm like, man, I was telling Drew, I was just kind of rewatching some bits and pieces of the game before we got on here, and we were up 17-10. Couldn't score. Um, or we had that long drive that scored, and somewhere along the way, I don't know if it was the next drive or a couple drives after that, that the Flacco goes down, and they were kind of moving, and it was just like, oh, here we go, they're gonna tie the game up. We stop them and hold them to 3 on like a goal line stand, like 3rd and 1 at the at the 2 or something like that. They get 3. We come out, and it like that's a perfect time to go and at least put 3 more points up. But you go get points, probably about 8 to 10 minutes left in the fourth. You're up by at least a score, maybe 2 possessions if you can get 7 points. And you're talking about a team that can close football games. Yes, we struggled at times during that game, but we led for most of the game. Like, this team is not far from having 4 or 5 wins. But when you have no confidence in yourself to be able to offensively, because our defense is doing enough to offensively close out games by putting points on the board to shut the door, you can't win. This is a one possession league. These games are meant to be decided by one possession, and that's typically how they go. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of our losses, except maybe for one, are by less than 7 points, 7 or less. Um, yeah, we lost 2 by 7. We lost today by 3. Oh, there was one more. Who did we lose to again?
The Packers smoked us.
Packers, which we were in the game for most of the time, and then we couldn't do anything. So it's just like it's hard. And then we put 31 up on a mediocre at best Dolphins team right now. So we're just not a good football team. There's not confidence. Um, the defense is playing well enough to keep us in the game, but it's unfortunate because the offense can't do anything. And it's there's not really a ton to say. I mean, honestly, what I would love to do, and we can throw in a little segment here. I would love to get kind of our hot takes of the season at this point in the season. And I'll say this because this is mine right now. I really have two of them. One of them I've already said, and it's probably more realistic, but I'm almost on the give me Shadur Sanders boat, and I hate saying that. The only reason I say Shadur is because I think he is probably the most talented, highest ceiling of the ones in this next class, unless you count Ewers, but his injury history worries me a little bit. But that's I hate his attitude. That's why I say that. I think his attitude is just horrible, and it won't translate to the NFL, so he better fix it. But talent-wise, there's going to be people that are on this boat already. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm almost there. The second one I have is, does Denard Wilson get a head coaching spot if we go like 1-16?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's tough. I think Denard Wilson's going to be a head coach. I don't know that he's going to be ours because I don't think it's fair to like fire Callahan out. Look at Dan Campbell. I'm pretty sure they won 1 or 2 games his first season, and that team dismantled in every facet of the game. The Cowboys today, it was bad. The Lions are good, and that's a credit to letting Campbell build the team that he wants over a few years. So maybe that's what we need for Callahan, but the confidence is at zero. I mean, it's bad. It's just bad. So
first year head coaches.
yeah, it's
you
tough.
Can never. It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough. This is his first time calling plays, right?
Mm-hmm.
First year calling plays. First year head coach. Denard Wilson, I don't think it's going to go. This is his first year as a defensive coordinator, so like he's got to get a couple years under his belt. But I will say this for Titans fans: this season is going in one direction, and it is not a good direction. It is a very wicked, dark, very foul direction, and that direction is we realistically only got one game on the schedule left that I think is a gimme, and that is the Patriots, right? I don't think we beat the Commanders. I don't think we beat any of the other games. I think maybe we split with Jacksonville. I don't think we beat Houston at all. I think
how in the heck are we going to put enough points to compete with Jaden Daniels right now?
No,
not happening.
You're not going to beat the Lions. They're going to beat us by 50. You're not going to beat the Bills. They're going to beat us by 30. I mean, right now this season is going in a very bad direction. And I'll tell you this right now. I think there's an imposter in the room. I think Jarrett Garantano disguised himself as Will Levis and has stepped in at quarterback for this season because what like Drew said, what the heck happened to Will Levis? What is bro doing? But
and it's not that he was great last year.
No, it's not that he's great last year.
He showed some really good spurts, but we're not seeing really good spurts at all this year.
No.
I mean, it's really just like we occasionally get some mediocre in there, but it's pretty much just bad. So
I'll say this too. I'll say this real quick. My last point before I move on. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, no, I mean Will Levis hasn't been great, right? But he's young, right? He's inexperienced. I don't think our offensive line up until today has helped him out a lot. I don't think our receivers are helping him out a lot. I don't think. Kel, you said an interesting stat just a second ago, or Drew, somebody. He's the worst statistical quarterback in the second half of games. Do you want to know why that is? It's because second half adjustments. First half, we run the ball really well. Teams realize that we're running the ball really well. And then they come out and they decide they're going to stop the run and make Will Levis throw the ball, and he can't do it. Look at the Bears game. We ran all over the Bears in the first half. They came out in the second half, blitz, 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 blitz all night long. Crowd the box, crowd the line of scrimmage, make Will Levis make throws. He didn't do it. The Jets, we came out there. Paulo looked great to start the game. They come out and they say, we're going to make Will Levis throw the ball. Sucked the rest of the game, right? Look at the Packers. We came out there, first drive, went all the way down the field and scored. Guess what? When they started playing the run and making him pass, he couldn't do it. Will Levis is playing good in the first half because teams are playing the pass and the run. We're running the ball so well that eventually teams are just saying, okay, screw it. We're going to stop even pretending like this team has a passing offense, and strictly we're going to stop Tony Pollard at all costs because Will Levis isn't going to win this team any games. If Will Levis beats you, Will Levis beats you, right? And that's plain and simple what's happening. If you lose a game because Giannis is hitting a corner three, so be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
They're going to let him shoot
they're
it.
going to let him shoot it. Let him shoot it, right? Let Zach Edey pull up from half court and shoot it. Who cares? He's not going to hit it. That's what teams are doing right now. They're stopping the run and making him beat you, and he can't. Anyway.
Yeah. To answer your question about Denard Kell, one thing to bring up too is you look at teams like the Chiefs with Spags, right? He's always known to have a phenomenal defense, yada yada yada. Been there a couple of years, won Super Bowls, still there. He hasn't gotten and tried to be a coach. So I think it all comes down to the person, the actual person as a coach, and how well they get along with their head coach, and then obviously how
Mm-hmm.
well their players are performing.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like if our defense keeps up this level of play, who knows? Maybe Denard says, "Oh, I feel like we might got some unfinished business, whatever." I would hate to see him go, of course, because we've had such a good defense. Um, I just I, to bring up your point from earlier. I mean, what do we do for quarterback? We're at a standstill. We're at a loss because you put Mason in. I'm sorry. I love that people think Mason Rudolph is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. All of a sudden, that we're just going to put Mason Rudolph in and we're going to win games.
Well,
Just
because he
be,
had like 2 decent completions in the Miami game. Let's not forget we won that game because we ran the ball.
yeah. I mean, he can't throw the ball either. So um, there's that. And then these quarterbacks coming out in this next class. Yeah, Shador maybe the best physically talented quarterback, but then you also got to think about, well, you draft him, you draft his daddy, you draft his whole family, you draft the drama that surrounds that family.
You asked for national media hype. We would get it
Yeah,
then.
I
I
mean,
promise you.
so I don't know. I don't know. You just like Austin said, our best hope right now is just to hope that he can turn it around. And I was hoping, I'm telling you, dude, during this whole game, I was sitting there, I said, you know what? Even if we lose this game, up until the point when I was watching, I said, he doesn't have a pick yet. He doesn't like I thought we were gonna finally just get through a game where he wasn't gonna throw an interception, and then he freaking throws one. So I don't know. Oh, it's just hard to watch these games at this point, man. It's hard.
I feel bad for our defense. I feel bad for
Yeah.
Denard Wilson and our defense. I feel bad for L'Jarius Sneed. I feel bad for Sneed. I feel bad for Simmons. I feel bad for Harold Landry. I feel bad for Sweat. These guys are coming in every single day, busting their tail off, and coming out there and giving our offense the best chance to win. And our offense is selling every game. I feel like I'm watching the same team play on Saturday as I am on Sunday. As a Tennessee fan, I feel like I'm watching the Vols and the Titans mirror image teams right now. The defense is coming out every week and dominating. No matter who they're playing, they're dominating. The offense, on the other hand, they're coming out and they just suck. They're stagnant and nothing's happening. You're not scoring points. It's hard to watch. Like Drew said, it's hard to watch because your defense plays so good. You got the number one defense in the league, and our offense is just so bad. Our special teams is so bad. Like we can't do anything right. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean that I think that's the part that feels the worst about all of it is because yes, to make it all better, or I mean to add on top of all the bad stuff, we've never really had a good offense as a Titans. If you are around our age as a Titans fan, we had good offenses right when most of us were born with Steve McNair. We had spurts of good offenses with like a good year of Vince Young and Chris Johnson. And we had the AFC Championship run with Derrick Henry. And Lord, does Ryan Tannehill look like a monster of a quarterback compared to what we have right now? Like, I didn't want to bring it up, but wow. That year we had Arthur Smith. I mean, Ryan Tannehill was dang near a Pro Bowler. I think he was, because of an injury or something like that. But still, he had good stats. He had 30-something touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, this is the worst thing. This is the thing that hurts the most as a fan. We look stuck, and it looks worse because this draft class is not great
At the quarterback position, that's not
at the
great.
quarterback position. At the quarterback position, so you have to ask yourself, and you have to pray really and hope that Levis can find some sort of positive energy throughout any point in the rest of this season to where you can say, okay, let's beef up the O line a little bit more. Let's go draft a weapon, potentially high first round, Luther Bird, and some of those guys we mentioned before, and see if you can do something else. Because look, yes, Ridley is talented. D Hop is talented. They're getting older, and that's just the
And
truth
it's
of it.
showing.
It
It's showing.
it is showing. It is because and Tyler Boyd, like all these guys are known to be able to. They're savvy veterans. Yes, Calvin's fast, but the other two, they're known to at least find some holes and get open and stuff. That's not happening. Our guys are not open. The tight ends that are supposed to be good, not open, not doing anything. The best players on the field when we run offense are typically Pollard and Spears, and unfortunately, we only have one of them on the field at one time. So, and Spears, unfortunately, just kind of he's got a little bit of the hammy bug right now. So, that's where I'm at. It sucks because it's like, it's not like you're going to sign a free agent quarterback. Who are you going to sign?
Nobody.
There's nobody to sign.
Overpay for Sam
So,
Darnold, maybe?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I mean, yeah, but
No
I mean,
thanks.
it's not, we're stuck. We got to figure something out. This is what you have to do. You have to pour into Will Levis and just hope that you're able to pull
Bro,
something
honestly,
out potential wise.
if I'm counting them, I'm going over film from last year, finding okay, what did he do good? What was his strong points in this offense that they ran last year,
Play
and try to
action.
implement it.
Absolutely
action.
that,
He was
but
great in
also
play
like
action.
we did not have these receivers last year. So it's like, how are we regressing so much?
Well, I
Man
saw somebody
coverage.
say today. They said, was it because to your point, Cal, where you said Will Levis wasn't that good last year? They were saying, we think about Will Levis last year, and obviously his debut game, which was insane. Um, but you think of it last year, our offensive line was probably one of the worst in the league for sure. Our receiving core was horrible. We had D Hop, and that was about it. So he kind of just provided like a spark of like, hey, there's some offense to actually watch. And I think that's just what we got so used to him just being a bright spot on that terrible, terrible offense to where now we have built an offense that on paper is pretty dang good. But now playing with it, you can tell maybe he wasn't as good as we thought that he was. And I don't know, bro. I can't imagine. You haven't seen it from any other quarterback that played in his rookie year, other than maybe like Trevor Lawrence. I guess I don't even know, but I haven't seen a quarterback that plays this way one year and then the next year is just completely different and just
I,
worse.
I think the worst two quarterbacks in football are in the AFC South. And honestly, I don't know which one's worse right now.
Oh, he's the
And
worst.
that hurts to say.
Will Levis is the worst quarterback in the NFL right now.
We got the bottom three quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Richardson,
Well, I'm
Lawrence,
not
and
counting
Levis.
Richardson because Joe Flacco is balling a little bit. So
Yeah, I mean, if Flacco's not healthy, Richardson's a bottom three quarterback. He's still up until today tied with Levis in interceptions, and he's missed 2 more games.
yeah. Well, and apparently Shane Steichen said that Richardson's still the guy if he's healthy, and I'm like, are you
Well, yeah,
crazy?
because you got to think about the future. It's the same. They're
Well,
in the same
sure,
boat.
but
They're in the same
you can
boat
make
as us.
playoffs.
Yeah, but they don't have the team to go. Look, here's the thing: if you're not gonna be a competitor and you don't have a chance to win, and they realize that because the
You got to
Texans are
get a
in the way,
reps.
you got to get a good draft pick. I would rather lose every game, get a top 5 draft pick, get a cream of the crop position that is going to help us in the future, than to barely miss the playoffs and get the 20th pick and get a not cream of the crop player and settle, right? If you're not going to make the playoffs, if you're not going to compete for the Super Bowl, I would rather go 10-15, whatever it is, 2-15, whatever it is, and get our choice at Travis Hunter, McMillan, Luther Burden, Will Campbell, like James Pierce, somebody, anybody, right? Whereas if you make the playoffs, you win 7, 8 games, maybe 9, barely sneak in, lose first round. Guess what pick you're getting at? 20 something. And who are you getting then? Because I'll tell you right now, everyone I just named is not on the board. Nobody. Not a soul. It's just like last year. We won 2 garbage can time games against one against the Dolphins, and the other one at the end of the season against the Jags. Guess what? That's the difference between us getting a player like Joe Alt, who was NFL ready from day one, and Latham, who's a work in progress every week, right?
Well, and we'd be the Chargers too.
And the year before that, let me
Likewise.
just tell you how miserable this has been for a Titans fan. Farther back than the last couple of years, because if you go a handful of years ago, back when we did have Tannehill, we passed up on somebody. I think we might have even gone. I don't want to say that wrong. We passed up on Justin Herbert for somebody that is no longer a Titan. So that could have happened. And then a few years down the road later, we passed up on. Let me see. I lost my train of thought there for a second.
I got one for you. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we moved up to draft Dez Fitzpatrick, who got cut in camp.
Season.
And then only got called back up because we had injuries. We passed up on there was another quarterback that I was thinking of.
Patrick Mahomes. But at the time, I mean, like,
yeah, we didn't need a quarterback at the time.
There was another. I was thinking of something else.
I mean, all of our first round draft picks basically 3 out of the last 4
and
years.
this is the other miserable part. We were just this is the bad part about being decent. We were just good enough, because I guarantee you right now, if the Texans did not have the capital that they did, and they don't draft back to back, the Tennessee Titans would have moved up and taken C.J. Stroud.
Oh no,
and
no,
right
now,
it
wasn't even that, bro. It was that one game. I forgot who it was against. It was the Texans when they had Levis Smith as their head coach. It was that one game where it might have been against the Colts. I can't remember, but it was like if they won. They had like the number 1 draft pick because they were so bad, but they won a game that they were supposed to lose. But the head coach was getting fired at the end of the season, so he sat there and said, "Screw it," and they went and they won the game.
But
that's
still
what made them get the second pick.
It is, but it is still a fair point that we have been in the last 8 years or so, either in the playoffs or just good enough to have a mediocre first round pick.
Yep.
And you can't flip your team over like that.
You're not. That's what I'm saying. Like
you're just playing to get a wild card in the playoff and get beat, or you're just playing to get a 23rd pick in the first round.
Yep.
Like, look, yes, first rounders you need to hit on, but still, do we want a top 10 or a 25? Top 10?
Look at the Steelers, man. Look at teams like the Steelers. Look at teams like the Cowboys. Look at teams like who's another team that always finishes like right in the playoffs. Right, and they never make it past the first round. Like the Dolphins. Look at the team like the Dolphins. Look at the team like the Steelers. Look at the team like the Cowboys. Look at a team like even the Eagles. Look at a team like and the list goes on and on and on. They just make the playoffs, right? The Bears.
But let me just explain to you. This is to piggyback on your point right here. Look at the teams who have not done that in the last few years and who have won Super Bowls in the last few years. And yes, I mean the Kansas City Chiefs. Tell me why the Kansas City Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls in like the last 5 or 6 seasons.
Because they traded up early in the first round and drafted a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Because they got Patrick freaking Mahomes. This is a quarterback league. I don't care how good the rest of your team is. You have to have a quarterback that can win football games.
I'm sorry. I don't want to say Brock Purdy's a system quarterback because I don't think that's the case. But there's a difference between the 49ers and Pat Mahomes. There's a difference. I'm not going to lie to you. If Pat Mahomes is on the 49ers, heck, they might have just went their 3rd season in a row undefeated. I don't think that team loses a game. But because Brock Purdy's a semi-system quarterback over there, and I think he's better because everyone around him is freaking all pros at every position. They're basically the Alabama of the NFL. He looks better than he is, and he gets exposed every year when it comes playoff time, or he gets exposed at least once or twice a season when those all-pro playmakers get shut down a little bit and he falls off the wheels. He falls off the track. But anyway, like I was saying is this. For the Titans fans that are calling for Mason Rudolph, what is Mason Rudolph going to change about this season? What is Mason Rudolph going to help you determine for the future? This is not a Super Bowl or bust year for us. Going into this season, we are trying to find out if Will Levis is the guy or not. It is okay if Will Levis is not the guy. Guess what? We get a top 5 draft pick. We get a choice at whatever quarterback we want. That's fine. Who cares? But you can't play Mason Rudolph and leave the question mark for Will Levis. Because then when you go into this offseason, there is no guaranteed answer at what you do. But as a Titans fan, you should hope Will Levis pans out. Because then, like we've said, you go get Luther Burden. You go get McMillan from Arizona. You go get offensive tackle, like who can play right tackle, Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks or literally anyone else, a playmaker. Go get a who knows? Who cares? Go get an edge rusher. Go get an elite edge rusher, whoever it may be. I don't care who it is. Just go get somebody, right? Because Arden Key can't be the starter. I mean, over there, clearly. Like, go get an edge rusher, go get a tackle, or go get a wide receiver. One of the two. I don't care which one it is, but go get an elite difference. Elite. You can still get a really good player late in the first round, but you're not getting an elite player. Go get an elite player in the draft. I don't care who it is. Go ahead and pack the season up. It's over. Right at this point, I don't want to say tank because I don't like to say I don't like teams tanking. But at this point, if we win any game, we're not making the playoffs. So any game we win now until the rest of the season is basically, and I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. We might turn it around and do a complete 180. But right now, as it stands, any game we win now pushes us further down that draft board.
Yep. Drew, I'm going to give my final thoughts here, and then I'm going to let you and Roller close it out. I think for me, because I think the obvious glaring issue here, like, yes, we can talk about special teams, we can talk about certain people on defense needing to do better, whatever the case. The glaring issue with this team is the offense. It's not even close, and even more so than that is the quarterback, because we don't know what we have. We've seen the potential before. We're not really seeing much of that potential this year, and but here's the thing. This is the big, blah 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 blah, but moment. You have to keep him in there because we either get a high draft pick or he pans out. And you honestly have to keep him in there at where we are, and you got to let him throw it around. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't say we're 1-4, we still got a chance at the playoffs. No, just let him play free. Call what you think might work. Let him throw the ball down the field. I don't care if he has 87 interceptions. You have to find. You can't protect him from turnovers and then hope next season he's going to pan out. No, you got to see if it's going to happen. Like, look, maybe he'll throw some turnovers this week, and the next week he'll do a little bit better, and the next week, and by the end of the year, you're like, okay, now we have a quarterback that feels comfortable. That's what you have to do. So that's another reason to not put Mason Rudolph in. But you have to just say, we'll go out there and play. You tell me what you like. We're going to keep working back and forth. We're going to try to get our playmakers involved, throw the ball, run the ball, and try to do your best. But that's all you can really hope for, because we're not going to get any answers by just playing it safe with play calling and trying to make the playoffs with like 6 or 7 wins. It's just not. We want to sustain franchise success for long term, like the Chiefs, like these other teams are doing, and you can't do it when you're protecting your quarterback because you think he's going to throw picks every play.
Yeah. And one thing that you're bringing up when you're talking about years past, can you imagine right now? And obviously, Dylan Raines has done a phenomenal job so far during the season for just getting actually plugged into a position that he's allowed to play the whole season. But can you imagine if Isaiah Wilson actually panned out, that we would only have to fix one more spot on our offensive line, and we would have we have the third youngest O line in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if we had him too, I mean, we'd be even younger. But I just think there's a couple of bright spots, right? We know we don't have to draft running back. Running backs have been phenomenal so far this year. Tony Pollard is a beast. Anybody that had anything to say when we signed him that was negative, you look like a fool. Um, receiver is a big question mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
D Hop potentially going to get traded here in the season. I would trade him if we can trade him for some draft capital. Calvin Ridley's upset, but he's on the contract for another 3 years. Traylon Burks is hopefully not going to be on the team next year, so he's gone. Tyler Boyd is on a 1-year contract, and he's barely done anything, so he's probably going to be gone. So we're left with Calvin Ridley and contractually Traylon Burks, and then Jaquan
And
Jackson.
let's all look down and wave at freaking John Robinson in the snake pit right now, because this curse started with letting AJ Brown go. I will never let that go. I will never let it
First
go.
came back from being on, not playing for 4 weeks, and he goes for 100 yards.
He just produces.
But anyways,
He's elite.
As I keep going, right, don't have to draft the corner. For the most part, our corners are pretty good. Cheeto's had some injury history so far this year, but whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Brownlee stepped
Yeah.
up. He's huge. Get Trey Avery out of here next year.
Oh, dude, he's so bad.
Yeah,
it's crazy that he still doesn't make plays on punt return or anything. Like he gets on the field, he makes a mistake. It's amazing. But anyway, continue.
But I just think this is just. I don't know why fans are so, and maybe it's just because most of our fans are UT fans too, where they have this college mentality of win now or you don't win at all. Because like Roller said, this wasn't a getting the playoffs kind of year or bust, right? I mean, this is brand new everything. I think we need a season like this, especially from the play calling perspective of Callahan, to where I think he came into this season thinking he's going to be a freaking guru offensive play caller from what he had in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow in that offense, and so far it hasn't been that, right? So I think him struggling is good for us. Um, and Will, man, like Roller said, not being on a first round pick contract is beneficial for us, but man, it's just rough. Hopefully, like I want to start winning games, but at the same time, like at this point in the season, it's just better for us to lose, and it sucks because I don't want to see us lose. But it's just
it's a terrible situation to be in. It really
like
is.
wow, Jaguars fans, this is what y'all been feeling like for the past couple of years, man. This is
it's rough. It's rough.
Like they're still feeling it. Did you see that game this morning?
Like
Man,
America,
smoked.
I'm
Not
sorry,
Caleb Williams.
I'm sorry, America, or whoever has to sit there and watch these two games this year against us and the Jags. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I hope we go in there and we lose that game at this point. Like just tank. Well, I'll tell you this, Drew. I'm glad you said. I'm glad you mentioned the Bengals. Because I want to say one thing. A coach can only do so much with what he's got in his basket.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what Callahan has in Cincinnati. You've got a top 5 quarterback. Joe Burrow looks fantastic this season. Their defense is the reason they're not winning games. Yep. He's got the best QBR. He's got the best touchdown. He's got the best completion percentage. He's the best quarterback in the league statistically at the moment.
With a hurt wrist.
He's the best quarterback in the league statistically. Their defense is selling him. But look at his breadbasket over there. He's got a no matter what coverage the defense is running, beater and Jamar Chase. It don't matter what they throw at him, he can get open. T. Higgins, don't matter what they throw at him, he can get open. With the Titans, right now, especially with the press man coverage league we're in, D-Hop don't got the speed to get open. You better hope they're running zone all game because that's the only way he's getting open is if he's going and sitting in the zone. Calvin Ridley, he's hit or miss. Sometimes he's open, sometimes he's not. Tyler Boyd, same as D-Hop. You better hope they're running zone because if somebody's press man coverage him, he's not getting off the ball. Same thing with the tight ends. This is a press man coverage league. If you don't got somebody that can beat that press man, you're not winning. And so far this season, these teams are running these press man coverages, and we're wondering why no one's open. Why is no one open? They're bagged.
Well, and you bring up a good point, man. I think we're just allergic to using our tight ends. I mean, Chick got one catch today, but like so far this season, I feel like they're just out there to run block. Anytime they're on the field, we're just running the ball. Like I get it, we have a lot of these receivers. We're not going to be running a lot of tight end sets anymore. But you look at the Chiefs, like why are the Chiefs' offense so dangerous? That they could throw the ball over the top now that they got Xavier Worthy. But you got to worry about Travis Kelce. Like you look at our tight ends, you don't got to worry about them. I mean, Josh Wiley's running out there with the Guardian cap on. You know he ain't getting the ball. So I don't know, bro. There's just so much we got to fix, and it's gonna take time.
Yep. Oh, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps up everything. It's unfortunate that we had to get on here and have this because it's such a weird week too, because we would have potentially gotten on here had we had a good game like we hoped and been talking about second place, been talking about, okay, now you can maybe get yourself back into it. Whereas now we're on the complete opposite side of that spectrum, and it just feels like this season is, I don't want to say a lost cause because you got to get value out of it, even though it's a bad season. But it's over in terms of playoffs. There's no reason to have playoff hopes right now. Right now, what your hope should be as a fan is, let's hope we can find something that will benefit us next season. Whether that's finding out if Lil Levis is the guy or not, seeing what we need to do as far as getting a quarterback, seeing if he is the guy, what kind of talent we can put around him with all these 1-year contracts that are going to be up. Because we're going to have to draft. I mean, seriously, you build franchises off of your drafts. You can pick up some valuable pieces in free agency, but you build from the draft. And I do think we have a good drafter. So we're just going to have to see where it goes. Unfortunately, this was a rough episode, and honestly, we're probably going to have quite a few rough episodes if the season continues out this way. So at least we have our pick'ems in there, and I mean, I think that's going well for me again this week. So
it's not only bright spots.
The only bright spots is going to be when we talk about other teams. So but that's kind of the life of a Titans fan. If you're about our age, we've had we weren't really old enough to remember. I mean, I think few months old when we went to the Super Bowl, and then when we had a chance and blew it against the Chiefs a few years ago, we were all in college or high school or whatever the case. So that's really the only opportunities we've kind of had. So it's unfortunate. And, one of these days we'll have a good team, but at this point we gotta trudge through it, and the real fans will keep it up. So another good episode is just us, hanging out talking ball. But man, it's gonna be a rough season. So I don't have much else to say, but it's hard to say tighten up today. I'll tell you that much.
Yep. It's I don't know. We'll see. It sucks. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
James Pierce, you're a Tennessee Titan. I hope at this point.
On a draft.
My $1 bet for Tennessee Titans to win the Super Bowl this year is long gone.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, yeah, that's gone.
Yeah. So we do appreciate everybody that's been listening, tuning in, watching, all the subscribers. It does help if you are subscribed. If you are not subscribed and you're listening and you like what you hear, just consider clicking that button, giving the video a like, and maybe sharing it with somebody, or leaving us a comment down below, leaving a tighten up or a tighten down. Heck, I don't care. Or anything that you want to put in there that we, could talk about, even if it does have to do with other teams. So we still like doing this, even though it sucks when we have to do it like this. But we're going to keep doing it because we just like talking ball. And for some reason, we still like the Tennessee Titans. But I think that's about all that we had for this episode. Unfortunately, it was a rough one, but we're going to get through it together. And that's just how it is as, in the life of a Titans fan. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season.